These days, Kerbal Space Program 1 looks beautiful, in major part because of the fantastic visual mods created by the community that add atmospheric scatter, volumetric clouds, stunning surface textures and spaceship parts. It really makes the game worlds apart from its humble beginnings. But what if we went back? Back before the game even released into 1.0, when it was still in early access, when the parts looked like this.
Disgusting!
Well, I had no intention of doing that, since you can't actually go that far back in the Steam Betas tab, and I wasn't going to go and find some old torrent to an ancient version of the game. But then, I was looking through an old hard drive that I had at university in 2014, and I stumbled across a backup of my Steam library from that era. Now, most of the games won't work because of DRM, but KSP doesn't have DRM, and so I was able to boot it up. And so, I thought it might be nice to take a little trip down memory lane this week, and we can marvel at just how far the game has come. Not to mention, I don't think I ever actually used those old janky space shuttle parts because, you know. So, let's put things right. Okay, so here we are on the main menu. This is take 2 for me because the game doesn't record very well in full screen mode for some reason. It kept crashing. So now I'm having to record like this is my current view. If I show a screenshot there, it's like windowed in the middle of my screen. But here we are at 1080p resolution because this game doesn't really work at 4K resolution. In fact, the modern version doesn't work that well at 4K either. You kind of need a mod to make it work properly. But regardless, let's make a new save. Old KSP take 2 interactive, right? And set the Union flag as our flag. Start a sandbox mode, and we will have a little look at what a lot of you guys never experienced, which is the jank of old KSP. So this is the view of the VAB. Obviously, no visual mods, because this is from my 2014 install, which was running on a laptop, which was not very good. It had a GT640M as the graphics card. Not great, ran quite slowly. So, yeah, no visual mods here. Let's open up the VAB and take a look at some of the parts. So the VAB generally is unchanged, but the UI is slightly different because we have all of our tabs, I guess, along the top rather than along the side. Action groups and Kerbal Manager and all that are way over here for some reason. And there's no rotate or offset tool, which means that, well, that will have its consequences that you will see later on. Let's take a look at some of the old janky parts. So I guess kind of the most mild ones are these two. Obviously, we've got the Gemini-style cockpit. What's it even called? The Mark 1 command pod. And the Mark 2 land can. Mark 2 land can doesn't look too bad, to be honest. It looks very Kerbal-y, but I do prefer its modern version, especially because this can't have a rover variant. It's just a lander can. So we've got those. I think things like the... no one really cares about the probes today, but these look a tiny bit different. Let's get on to the more wild stuff, though. We have... Ooh, check out the inline cockpit. So, it's got kind of a charm to it, hasn't it? It would pairs very nicely, in fact, with the Mark II liquid fuel fuselage. This is still in the game. It has 400 units of liquid fuel now, not 150. But that's that there paired with it. We can also pair it with this, the Mark I cockpit. How cool is that? I do actually kind of miss this cockpit in a way, because we don't really have an equivalent of it anymore, at least in stock KSP. We have the, now it looks a bit more like a, I guess, private jet style cockpit. I do kind of like this sort of sci-fi, retro-y fighter pilot cockpit looking thing. So these are these parts, but of course, I have saved the very best till last. The definition of the word best, very much open to interpretation. It's this thing. It's, well, you know what? In many ways, it's a beautiful thing. I love it. Almost as much as I love the Opera browser, and the way it has enhanced my daily web browsing and my productivity. I especially love Opera's Workspaces feature. It lets me keep my tabs organized by grouping them into separate workspaces so that I can easily switch between work, research, and entertainment at the mere click of a button. I also really love the integrated messengers in Opera. You can chat on WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, for example. Obviously, I've signed out for the purposes of this video, right from the sidebar without interrupting your current session. It is super convenient and time-saving. And if you want to save even more time, then Opera has a built-in AI called Aria, which gives you instant explanations and translations when you highlight text. No dedicated AI window required, and with the command line, you can ask any question without even needing to open Aria in the sidebar at all. And Aria doesn't just generate text, you can have it create images for you as well. If all that wasn't enough, Opera has a built-in VPN that's free and unlimited to keep you secure and your browsing private, activated in just one click. Opera is free, so what are you waiting for? Transform your web browsing today and use my link below to download and let Opera know who sent you. This thing is irredeemable. It's inexcusable. Look at this. So this is the old Mark III cockpit. Like, it's the space shuttle cockpit, but obviously awful in every way. Not just because it's an awful looking cockpit, but because everything that attaches to it is rubbish as well. So first of all, if we try and find a nose cone for it, I'm not trolling here. I think that this is the way you're supposed to construct the nose cone. Like this, because it continues the heat shield. So you've got the black underside. Okay, it doesn't fit that flush with this, but it sort of continues it like that. Or we use an air intake, which I guess is probably the other intended focus. I say this because the nose cone piece, which is actually largely unchanged even in modern KSP, it doesn't fit. So this is clearly not supposed to be attached. Maybe we use the RAM intake. Look how weird the RAM intake used to look. I'm definitely giving some... there's a certain number of people in the comments, myself included, who are getting a bit of a nostalgic wave looking at some of these old parts, though. Anyway, let's use the air intake. Now let's construct the rest of the awful space shuttle. So we're going to have to find a fuel tank, which is actually in the propulsion tab. There's no separate tab for engines and fuel tanks at this point because, I mean, these are all the engines and fuel tanks. There aren't that many. So let's find the Mark II fuselage. Well, in fact, I'll show you a normal fuselage first. This one, see how it clips on so weird. It's like down here. And we can't offset it up either because there's no offset tool. So I guess we would need to use like an octagonal strut and attach it to the strut. But yeah, kind of weird. So let's find the Mark III view. There it is. Oh, at least the graphics are sort of consistent. They've got a bit of a gap just here. And then... there's no piece that we can then attach, like there's no other piece that we can attach that to the same shape, basically. There's no engine that has this profile. So we need to shrink the size down to Mark II size, using the Mark II size adapter. There we are. But then this actually predates most of the Mark II parts. They were, at the time, in a mod called Spaceplane Plus, and they were then sort of integrated to stock KSP. But this is the Mark II part here. We have another sort of thing here. There we are. So that's these are the horrible plane parts, basically. So I guess pretend this is the front of the spacecraft. We would then have this piece like that, but it's very inconsistent, and I don't think the inline cockpit even has a heat shield. No, it doesn't, does it? So yeah, very jank. So let's get rid of this. But I think we're gonna have to keep this one because there's no engine that has this profile. There's no, that dual engine Mark II piece that doesn't exist in this version of the game. So I guess we'll have to do this. And then in terms of engines, we only have liquid fuel in these parts, which means we're limited to just air-breathing engines. I guess we could have this is the Whiplash. This is what this used to look like. We also have the classic jet engine. So it's not the Panther, which it looks aesthetically close to, but it's just the subsonic jet engine, whose name escapes me right now in modern KSP. And look, we've got this big, ugly, yucky gap, which we can't close because, again, there's no offset tool. The more astute among you might be wondering, oh, Matt, why not just add a liquid fuel engine, a nuclear engine, because that runs on liquid fuel. But you would be incorrect there, my friend, because in this version of the game, don't know if anyone knew this, the nuclear engine used to be liquid fuel and oxidizer. So we can't use that. So we'll leave it. So I guess we'll have to use an engine like this, and then bolt some oxidizer tanks to the side. Maybe just something like that on the top. Perfect. That's beautiful. We can get rid of the liquid fuel, obviously, and then we can have wings. So I will do a proper plane design in a bit, guys. But let me just show you some of the parts we have. So we can't do... Oh, I forgot. Oh, we should have done this in the spaceplane hangar, actually, because we can't do mirror symmetry in the vehicle assembly building in this version of the game. So I guess we're going to have to try and guess it using normal... the what's it called? Radial symmetry. So look at the delta wing as that. We also have these weird... I never used these. The weird swept wing piece, which we can attach the elevons to, which again have this same sort of janky aesthetic. We have smaller control surfaces here, which we can use for the tail fin thing. Look at the canards as well. The canards are super weird looking. Can I get the go the right way around? There we are. That's oh, it just keeps on getting better, this thing, doesn't it? And we have the structural wing as well. Let's oh, that looks kind of good. Kinda doing some very heavy lifting in that sentence there. And that's what the plane parts usually do. So what I'll do now is I'll time lapse and just do a proper build and make a proper plane, and we can try and fly a space shuttle to space, because I never built a space shuttle with these parts. I feel like it's my duty to at least try, because I'm somewhat of a KSP veteran at this stage. So I just feel like this is something I just need to do. I've built realistic space shuttles in the past, and now it's time to build a horrible space shuttle. Now, I did actually record this on a different date. I kind of built this before I did the part showcase that you just watched, and so at this stage I didn't realize that the game didn't record very well at 4K resolution, so I was actually recording in 4K like natively, and somehow it just worked. I don't know why it didn't work today. Like, it would just keep on freezing and crashing, like the footage I mean. Unbeknownst to me, when I was recording it, it was playing, like the game was working fine, so I'm not really sure what happened. So you can enjoy this segment of the video in true 4K. Here I am doing a quick aerodynamic flight test. I've got those 2 oxidizer tanks on the back so that we can run a chemical rocket engine with this thing. And hey, I think it glides pretty nicely. We had to use these goofy structural pylons for the rear landing gear to make them level. But yeah, there we are, and perfect landing, so we can carry on with the construction. Now, you may be wondering, why did you not build this in the spaceplane hangar so you could have mirror symmetry? That's a very good question. The reason is I did build this in the spaceplane hangar, but for whatever reason, it would just crash the game whenever I pressed launch vessel, and no matter what I did, I could not build a craft in the spaceplane hangar with the Mark III size pieces and have it be launchable. I did like a couple of test vehicles, like with just the Mark I command pod, and they worked fine. So I really wasn't sure why I couldn't launch from the spaceplane hangar. So I had to build it all manually in the vehicle assembly building with the radial symmetry. So it was a little bit of a challenge to build those rear oxidized tanks and have them look kind of symmetrical. Now, here's the first shuttle prototype. It's an American-style shuttle, albeit with a engine on the external fuel tank. And as you can see, it just sort of flips out of control. It wasn't very aerodynamic, and I couldn't really get it to work. So I decided to change course. Since the external fuel tank is kind of like a Buran, because it has an engine, let's go all out on the Buran aesthetic and have liquid-fueled side boosters as well. Obviously, this was nothing like a Buran, but hey, it's kind of the same sort of principle. So here we are on our next test flight of the shuttle system. And as you can see, it's working pretty well. I closed the front intake. I don't think that does anything, but, I need every advantage I can get, because look at this vehicle that I'm working with here. And as you can see, I've got no mods like Kerbal Engineer installed, so I have to rely on switching to the map screen. And yeah, then we can form our gravity turbo, which looks very different in old KSP. I can talk about that more in a second. And yeah, and then I spun out of control. But you know what? I decided that this was simply a skill issue. And so we can go ahead and launch this vehicle again and see if we can actually get to space and then get back to the space plane, what's it even called? The runway. The Kerbal Space Center. That's what I was trying to say. And here we go. Now, I mentioned earlier I was doing a bit of a funny gravity turn, and that's because in these ancient versions of Kerbal Space Program, the most efficient way to do a gravity turn was just to go straight up until you reach 10 kilometers and then just do a hard turn to 45 degrees. So that's how us old school players used to fly rockets in this game. Well, we're going to close that front intake again. I don't think it does anything, but hey, better safe than sorry. Now, do we have an interior view? Oh my goodness, it has an interior view. It's better than all of the cockpits in Kerbal Space Program 2. But it's still pretty bad. So what's our altitude now? It's still pretty... Oh, we can jettison our side boosters. Whoa, that was pretty scary. As we continue along on our flight, I'm not sure what our fuel is. Ah, so this is... Yeah, so the fuel tank is used to drain in sequence like this. Well, this is draining... Oh, yeah, I've got, like, the correct ratio of liquid fuel in these tanks to match the oxidizer in these. Here we are at 10 kilometers. Let's just pitch over hard this way. And then we will continue our flight. And hopefully we don't tip over. I'm going to manage the throttle of this engine here. I can't move this UI window, it looks like. Obviously we're not at that part of the game yet. But eventually it will start overpowering that little engine on the shuttle itself. And there we go. So I can feel it. I'm losing a bit of control there. So I'm just going to have to manually control the thrust limiter like this. Now, one thing that kind of threw me off is that Z is not a button yet. To throttle up to full, you have to manually hold down shift till you get there, which threw a bit. So once we're about a minute from apoapsis, we can start flying a bit flatter. So then we can start, oh, wrong way. We start kind of inducing the gravity turn by throttling that main fuel tank's engine. Oh, no, we want the... Oh my god, this actually, I have to concentrate really hard now. Uh-oh. I think this is good trajectory, actually. So let's just hold that. Where are we now? Where's our apoapsis? 56 and climbing. You can't right-click the map screen to get the things to stay there either, so that's kind of annoying. So there's our orbital velocity. Well, let's get the nav ball open. Just wait for our apoapsis to cross the border of space. The Kerman line. We'll try to think of a good altitude. Let's go for 80 kilometers. Which seems like a safe altitude to go for, right? So there we are, 73, 74. I think the X button will still work, so we're about to find out. 80, there we go. Oh, X does indeed throttle down. So I have no idea how much delta V this thing actually has left, because I've got no delta V readouts. It's got a fair amount of oxide left. I'll tell you what, we'll circularize with... well, you know what? We'll just cross that bridge as we get there. I feel like the space shuttle should have enough fuel, right? Let's... I can't even see that because the screen is so small for me. 389 meters per second. That's a slightly overshot burn, though. The 79, 82, does that say? Now, we don't have a start burn indicator like we do in the modern version of KSP. So we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. So we take our estimated burn time, which is 14 seconds. We cut that in half. So for the less mathematically abled among you, that's 7. Then once we're 7 seconds from the maneuver node, that's when we do the burn, basically. And that's how you do an efficient gravity turn in old KSP. And here we are, crossing the Kármán line. We're going to quick save. I don't think multiple quick saves is a thing yet. No. I can only... Oh, no, there we are. Quick save 1. Perfect. I don't necessarily need lots of quick saves, but I would like to have it just for the purposes of going back later and grabbing screenshots for a potential thumbnail. So here we are. Let's... Do you know what? Actually, I'm dumb. Let's just transfer the remaining oxidizer and liquid fuel, right? Oh, hang on. Why has the shuttle got no oxidizer left? Oh, goodness me. This is a disaster. Oh, no. Burn time is 17 seconds. Oh, I'm going to have to do a quick save, probably. A quick load, even. Oh, whatever. Come on. Come on, little fuel tank. You can do it. That's annoying that happened, because not my fault. It probably was. I just don't remember how the fuel lines... fuel lines were a lot more essential in old KSP than they are today. Oh no, a node in T, -5. We're going to have to do a bit of burning. Oh no, we're massively out of balance. Oh, this is a disaster. Come on. Come on, oxidizer. Come on, little oxidizer. Actually, there's no auto SAS either at this stage. So that's fun, you know. Oh, no. Right, and then liquid fuel, how are we doing for that? I think we're just going to have to stage. And go! Oh, yep, Z doesn't work. Oh, this thing is not well balanced. It's really wanting to tip over. I've got loads of tires. So can I throttle up a bit more? Yes, I can. Now, I'm going to have to... Oh, let's just go to the map screen. Where is our... Okay, here we go. I can't throttle up all the way because the center of thrust is not aligned with the center of mass and it's causing us to go into a spin. By having about, what is that, 40% throttle, the SAS can overcome the offset thrust. Come on, 55, 60, where are we are? 63, come on, 69, 70. There we are. Whew. That was intense. And we've still got lots of fuel left. Oh my gosh. We got a little bit of fuel left. Oh, it's fine. So now we can deploy our solar panel, which I can barely see. We can highlight it using a... Well, you can see what I'm doing, right? And there we are. Now we can time warp to the dark. I'm going to just, you know, just for the safety's sake, do a quick save. Yeah. Oh, so we can't time warp very fast. So enjoy this lovely nighttime shot as we wait for the sun to rise on the other side of Kerbin. Oh, I see a glowing up here. There we are. Perfect. And then we can flip ourselves over and we can marvel. I could disable my control surfaces. It looks a bit better, but I think it just adds to the jet. Oh my goodness. It's just hideous, isn't it? So let's go on EVA. Who do I even have here? Jebediah Kerman. I just clicked at random. Just my KSP instincts. So there's the old KSP look. The old KSP look. Well, I guess this is the old KSP look overall. But this is the old Kerbal look, which I actually kind of miss. I think I prefer this kind of like more like greenish hue, for want of a better term. Like they did change the look of the Kerbals in around 2018, I want to say. So yeah, can I do an EVA report? Oh, I can. Don't get any science because we're in sandbox mode, but hey. We can get a good look at this magnificent flying machine that we have here. Oh my goodness. Good golly. I hate it. It's hideous. Lord Farquaad clip that I can't show because I want this video to be monetized. I have family to feed. What can I say? Well, I have 2 cats, you know, but... And I guess a girlfriend, but, you know. Oh my goodness. I suck at this game. Oh, it's because the board button is no longer B. Or I guess it... There we are. It's F. Of course it's F. Why wouldn't it be? So, yeah. Shall we just re-enter then and try and get back to the Kerbal Space Center? Oh, it's on the dark side of Kerbin. I think it'd be nice if we were landing in the day, right? So, oh, this is very slow, isn't it? I'm going to just speed the footage up for you guys. Okay, that took forever. So, let's make another quick save because I'm not waiting for that again. And I guess just deorbit. That is the retrograde marker, right? Again, I must stress I'm playing on a very small screen. So I guess we'll just do what I normally do so that our line kind of hits this little landmass to the west of the Kerbal Space Center. Did I say west? I meant east. So there we are. Oh, that's probably too much. But let's just go for it, you know? You only live once, right? So, this time warp is like... I miss better time warp. So, let's just fold away our solar panel. And re-enter. Now, I've not actually tested this vehicle beyond that, like, during the build time-lapse. When I did those little test flights off the launch pad. That's basically the only aerodynamic testing I've done for this thing. But, like, looks like it should work, right? I say as I once again look at the thing. The Kerbal is a good view because they can't see the vehicle that they're in. It's like that building in Paris. They say the top of the building is the prettiest view because it's the only thing you can't... Oh, I can't even talk right now. You guys know what I mean, possibly. Anyway, so actually I'm coming in way too high, aren't I? Because the Kerbal Space Center is just beyond this area of mountains. These mountains, I would do a less weird way of saying that. We're coming in way too high. I'm definitely going to overshoot. Or am I? Yes, I am. Can I do a cheeky retrograde burn? No, yeah, Z doesn't work. Oh! Spun out of control massively there. It was a bold strategy. Let's see if it paid off. Where is the Kerbal Space Center? Oh my god, am I... Oh, is that it? There's the islands with the island runway. Oh no, that's the KSC, that area there, right? I may have screwed the pooch here when it comes to re-entry. But since I've already kind of established that we can fire our engine in the atmosphere, I'm just going to fire it again. Because I don't really want to fly this vehicle for much longer. Because I must once again stress this thing, you know, it's horrible. Okay, there's the Kerbal Space Center. Oh, this is coming in beautifully. I think we could do another quick save at this point. And just continue gliding. So we're actually dropping, our service speed is dropping rather fast. So maybe I want to just throttle up again. Where's our liquid fuel? So I should have pumped more liquid fuel. Oop! To press the wrong button in my panic. Let's do another cheeky quick save. Why not? Okay, so I totally didn't just mess up the landing and do a stealth quick load. Let's do this. One more. Let's do this for the first time. Coming in for a landing. So I think we've just entered the supersphere because our spacecraft just did a bit of a twitch just then, didn't it? So rapidly approaching the KSC. Let's do a little quick save again. Why not? Can never have too many. It's not like I'm going to play this save game ever again, so I don't need to worry about cluttering up my list of saves. Let's deploy our horrid landing gear. Should I have the brakes on? Should I not have the brakes? I don't think I can toggle the brakes on the front. No, I can turn the lights on. That's nice. So our service speed is actually rather low. But one thing about these landing gears, well, the landing gear I'm using, is that it's very stiff. It doesn't have suspension, so we won't be coming in. We won't really do a bounce when we hit the ground. So I'm hoping we should be able to come down reasonably fast and be okay. You see? Oh, it's okay. I'm alive. And it was fine. It was all fine. As you can see, I designed this shuttle to be easily transportable back to the spaceplane hangar because we're so far away. And you know what they say, guys? Any landing that you can walk away from, Matt Lowne merch, you can... Why can't I plant a flag? This is a disaster. Hang on. I can't plant a flag? Well, I guess I can do an EVA report. And yeah, there we are. On that terrible disappointment of the flag, but obviously hugely successful landing, I think this mission can be considered a resounding success. And I'm very grateful because I wasn't really enjoying looking at this horrible space shuttle. So let's all now be grateful to the developers of Kerbal Space Program and all the mod makers for giving us things that are better than whatever that horrible cockpit is. It looks kind of like a sad dog, doesn't it? Just awful. But you know what isn't awful? The names on the right-hand side of your screen there, of course, my amazing Patreon supporters who make all of this content possible, as well as our great partners such as Opera, who worked with us for today's video. And yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. I certainly had a blast off, because rocket, whatever. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on Monday for Space This Week, if all goes